Hello, a warm welcome to you all from SGT University. I am Dr. Shikha, Pediatric Dentist in Faculty of Dental Sciences. Today, we will be learning about various behavior learning theories of child psychology.
Starting with introduction, behavioral theories of child psychology focus on how environmental interaction influences behavior. These theories deal only with behavior influenced by observation, and development is considered as a reaction to rewards, punishment, stimuli and reinforcement. These approaches are very useful in changing maladaptive behavior in children. Let's see by these behavioral theories whether people and animals are able to adopt their behavior when new information is introduced, or they don't include for free will or internal influences such as moods, thoughts and feelings.
Let's discuss about classical conditioning theory.
This theory was proposed by Ivan Pavlov in 1927. According to this theory, a child learns to associate two events that occur simultaneously and develops response as per stimulus given at different situations. Pavlov's classic experiment involves presentation of food to a hungry animal along with other stimulus such as ringing of a bell. This theory has 5 basic components. First is unconditioned stimulus, second is unconditioned response, third is neutral stimulus, fourth is conditioned stimulus and fifth is conditioned response. Therefore, he showed all these basic units in experiment by presenting food to a hungry animal. Now, what is unconditioned stimulus and unconditioned response? Whenever food is presented to a hungry animal, sight and smell of food by reflex mechanism automatically produce salivation in the form of unconditioned stimulus. And this stimulus, which was given by presentation of food, is unconditioned stimulus. Later on, simple ringing of a bell without presentation of food, you can see, does not elicit any reflex response in the form of salivation, and hence it acted as a neutral response. But during conditioning, whenever a ringing bell was associated with presentation of food which acted as a unconditioned stimulus, the response again will be in the form of salivation as unconditioned response. Hence, this acquisition occurred during conditioning. If a bell is rung every time food is presented, auditory response of ringing bell will be associated with stimulus related to presentation of food, and in a relatively short time the ringing bell will itself elicit salivation without presentation of food, which happened after conditioning. That means simple ringing of bell without presentation of food is conditioned stimulus that elicited salivation, which is a conditioned response. In dental implications, classic conditioning can have a considerable impact on young child's behavior on his or her first dental visit. Whenever child visited dentist for the first time, white coat of doctor is a neutral stimulus. Eventually, if we give an injection for dental procedure, it will become as unconditioned stimulus to elicit unconditioned response in the form of fear and anxiety. Next time, whenever child will visit dentist, this white coat of dentist, which was initially a neutral stimulus, will become conditioned stimulus to elicit same response in the form of fear and anxiety at first sight of dentist due to past dental history of injection.
Now, we will be discussing about second behavior learning theory, that is operant conditioning theory. This is also called as instrumental learning because it is a method of learning by means of rewards and punishments of behavior.
This theory was proposed by Skinner in 1938. According to this theory, a child learns to produce response when consequences of it lead to recurrence of stimulus. This theory has 4 components. First is positive reinforcement, second is negative reinforcement, third is punishment, and fourth is omission. Now, what is positive reinforcement? It occurs when a child's behavior is followed by a rewarding event, for example, praising a child for his good behavior. Second component is negative reinforcement. When a child's behavior is followed by a cessation of an aversive event. For example, if a parent shows anger to temper tantrums of a child, he reinforces his behavior. Third component is punishment, which involves introduction of an aversive stimulus into a situation to decrease undesirable behavior of child. For example, use of palatal rakes in correction of tongue thrusting habit.
And the fourth component is omission or extension. That means removal of a pleasant response after a particular action by a child.
For example, if child misbehaves during dental procedure, his favorite toy is taken away for a short time, resulting in omission of undesirable behavior.
Now, we will be discussing about social learning theory or observational learning theory.
This theory was proposed by Albert Bandura in 1963. This theory added a social element that children can learn new information and behavior by watching others around them, which Bandura determined from Bobo-Dole experiment in 1961. In this experiment, he took two groups of children. One group of children was sitting in a room where they observed a video of an adult interacting with a doll in empathetic manner, that is, in non-aggressive manner without kicking or hurting the doll. Whereas, second group of children were sitting in a separate room and they observed another video in which adult was acting in an aggressive manner by kicking and hurting the doll. Afterwards, both group of children were sitting together in a common room where they were given a doll. Now, what Bandura observed that those children who watched an aggressive video, they acted in an aggressive manner than the group who watched non-aggressive video. Therefore, in this theory, important factor is the characteristic of role model. If a role model is liked or respected by a child, he or she is more likely to imitate him or her. For this reason, parent or older sibling is often object of imitation by a child. For children in elementary or junior high schools, peers within their own age or slightly older are important role model. For adolescent, peer group is major source of models. Therefore, if a young child observes an older sibling undergoing dental treatment without complaint or uncooperative behavior, he or she is likely to imitate same behavior. Therefore, this theory, in comparison to classical and operant conditioning theories, provide more elaborated explanation of child's behavior for their management in dental clinics. But it is based on observation of a person with overemphasis on role of environment.
And now comes theory of hierarchy of needs.
This theory was proposed by Abraham Maslow in 1954. According to him, motivation arises from needs. When one need is satisfied, another higher level of need emerges. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is most often displayed as a pyramid, with lowest level of pyramid comprised of most basic types of need, where most complex needs are placed on the top of this pyramid. Therefore, needs at the base of pyramid is basic physical requirements, including those of food, water, sleep and warmth. Once these lower level needs have been met, people can move on to the next level of needs, which includes those of related to safety and security. As people progress up to pyramid, needs become increasingly psychological and social. Soon the need for love, friendship and intimacy becomes important. Further up the pyramid, needs for personal esteem and feelings for accomplishment become important. Also, Maslow emphasized the importance of self-actualization, which lies at the top of pyramid, which is a process of growing, developing a person to achieve individual potential.
Coming to the conclusion, Development of a child from infancy to adolescence is a constant process during which they are being influenced by many social, environmental, emotional and cognitive factors. Therefore, these factors have a great influence on child psychology and mind. So, today we covered various behavior learning theories of child psychology. Next time we meet, we will be exploring about acquired and developmental anomalies of teeth. Keep learning, keep growing. See you next time.